So I thought I'd move into this workshop and get on with things, but actually trying to turn this into a useful, usable space seems more complicated than I thought. So I bought this folding stand on wheels for the table saw. This is great when I had the tent and I had to move it in and out. Now I've got it in here, I've not really used it much yet because it just seems a bit of a faff to have to set up. It doesn't really move around nicely. It's got wheels, obviously, but they're not casters, so trying to turn it around and manoeuvre it is a bit of a pain. None of this was a problem when I was outside, moving it over uneven ground, but in here, it all takes up too much room and takes too long to set up. So I think I'm going to go for a simpler solution. First job, get the saw actually taken off this stand. So my plan is to make this really simple. I just want a box for this to sit on with casters. I want it to be about 1 centimetre taller than the workbench, just so if you push things through the mitre slots, they don't hit the side of the bench. So what I've bought is some 100mm casters. So now I need to measure the height of the bench, or the height I want it to be, minus the height of the saw and the casters off it, and then I'll know what size the box needs to be. I've got piles of wood in the house, so I'm determined not to buy any wood for this. So I'm just going to try and use up the scraps I've got. And I've got some 18mm MDF, so I'm going to get that out and get it cut to size for this. Before I get this box put together, I'm going to get the holes drilled for the casters because it'd be easier to do while it's all flat like this. So I'm just going to mark them out, drill a pilot hole, and then I'm going to use a Forstner bit to drill down a bit so that the heads of the bolts are going to be recessed. I'm going to get this all put together with some glue and screws. So first, I'm going to get some pilot holes drilled. I want to get some glue on these sides, but it's always tricky to be able to hold everything up. So what I do is just get a little clamp on the bottom, and then it just stands up basically. Now I can get some glue applied to the top of these and get the panel lifted on and some screws driven into place. Right, just repeat it on the other side. Right, just got to make sure I've got this the right way round so that those little recesses I've drilled are on the inside. Seems like the kind of mistake I would make. I want to get a back put on this thing for a couple of reasons. It will make it more stable, even though it's pretty solid as it is, and it'll stop things falling out the back when I put things in there. I think this is 9mm MDF, so I'm going to get that cut down on the table saw. So I was just about to get the back put on, and then I thought, you know what, it'd be so much easier if I get the casters put on first. I mean, you could put them on with the back on, but being able to reach in from this side will make my job a lot easier. I've used this brand of casters many times over the years, and they're definitely my go-to ones. They do them in 25mm, 75 and 100. Well, they might do more, but they're my most used ones. These are 100mm. I don't know if I mentioned that because I want this to be really easy to move around. So I put a link to these down below. Now the bolts I've used are 25mm long, because with the 18mm ply and cutting that little recess for the head to go in, they're the perfect length, so that the caster can spin without interfering with the bolt. Let's get back to getting the back on. Oh, I didn't mean to make that a joke. I don't think you really can describe that as a joke. Ignore that. Right, anyway, bit of glue around the outside, and then I'm going to get it screwed into place. Right, this thing has probably got some serious weight to it, being all 18mm MDF. Oh no, it's not too bad. So, moment of truth. Does the saw fit? And is it all at the right height? Saw definitely fits. And the height is perfect. Good. Well, it all fits on here fine, but now I need a way of attaching it to the top. Now I want it to go on and be removable toolless. And on the side, it has 3 holes either side. 2 go straight down, but the middle one is at an angle. So what I'm going to do is get a 6mm drill bit and drill through the angled one. So I've got a long bolt with a washer, which now I can get put up through the hole and try and line it up with the saw. With the bolts in, now I've got some of these little black star knobs that I can just put in place, and this should make it really quick and easy to take the saw off. Not that I envisage needing to do it very often. So this should make it much easier to move around, and also when it's not being used, because it's workbench height, it's another usable bit of space. So I've got it here, so I guess the workbench could be out for your table. If I want to cross cut with a long piece of wood, I can do it here, but I could rip. Can I rip that? No, see, I couldn't rip that. So to rip, I can move it around, end of the bench, really long pieces. I can have the door open. Yeah, there you go, door open. Close that, it's raining out there. Yeah, easy to move around. That I'm really pleased with, works great. So with the table saw stand done, let's move on to the next problem, and that's the bandsaw. This is much less of a problem. I'm quite happy with the height. I don't really need to move it around quite as much, but it would be nice. But what annoys me is just, this is dead space, and I feel I could utilise this space better. So I'm going to make another MDF box. I've run out of the 18mm, but I've got loads of 9mm, so I'm going to grab that. I'm a big fan of these Stanley storage boxes, so I think I'm going to build the base around the dimensions of these. I'm just going to use these shelves I already have as reference to work out how tall I need to cut the sides down, so I can get that done. And I'm going to use the table saw on its new cart for the first time, bring it round to do some cutting. With the sides cut, I can then cut a bit for the top and the bottom, and with those done, I can work out what size the shelves need to be and get 4 shelves cut. So I've got the bits cut for the top, the bottom, the sides and the shelves, and I've got a pile of scraps left over. So what I'm going to do is rip these down to use as support for the shelves, and they're also going to bulk out the frame and just make everything a bit stronger. I'm going to get some glue applied, if I can work my glue bottle. And then to hold them in place, I'm going to put some screws in. Now the screws will be visible, but I think I'm going to paint this one so then it'll all be hidden. With the first one in, I can just get another piece of wood on as a spacer, and then I'm actually going to put in some proper spacers, some 1mm ones, just because I want the shelves to be able to slide in and out reasonably easily. And I am, as I say, going to get some paint on, so that should take that into consideration. I left the sides a little long, so now I can trim off the little excess I've got left at the top on the table saw. Hello, different day, different hat. Now, let's get this thing put together. So I'm going to get this put together, same as the last one, glued and screwed. So first job, drill some pilot holes with the countersinking bit. All put together, but now it needs a back to it, so back to the table saw to cut it. Now I can get some glue, put along the back, spread out, get the panel on and screwed into place. Get it the right way around. Now this panel I've cut is square, but now I can see I've got it on there that the cabinet itself, careful, is not. So what I can do is get a clamp on, and that will just pull everything into place. Then I can get some screws on. So this thing is made out of quite thin MDF, and I need to get the casters attached. So I've cut down a couple of bits of 18mm MDF, and I'm going to get those attached to the bottom. I'm going to get these glued and screwed onto the bottom, and that'll give me a place for the casters to go. So I've got the extra support on the bottom, now I need some for the top, but to work out what I need, first I'm going to have to get the bandsaw taken to bits. So I've got this off the base, and the underside is kind of, it's not just flat, it's a strange shape, but a bit of 3x2 looks like it will fit perfectly in there. So the whole thing is quite a curvy shape, so what I'm going to do is hold up my bit of wood and trace out the shape it needs to be, then I can get this cut on the jigsaw. These bits now can get glued onto the top of the cabinet and held in place with a few screws driven up from the inside. Now to give this all a paint. I'm going to get all these bits painted with the same paint that I used to do the unit I've already got in the workshop. Alright, the paint's dry, so I can finish getting this put together. The first job is to get these casters installed, so I'm just going to get some screws put in through this thicker MDF at the bottom. Right, now for the bit I've been dreading, getting the bandsaw back on this stand, because even with the cast iron table taken off this thing, it is still seriously heavy, but I can get it kind of slid almost there, hopefully. Ah, it's on. Because how this base works and it's hooked over the wood, it feels pretty secure, but I've got some of these self-tapping roofing screws with nice big heads left over from the workshop build. Now get the emergency stop button remounted to the side of this cabinet now. Last job, get the shelves put in, and then the toolboxes. So, all done. That moves around much easier now and no longer dead space under it. Table saw I'm really pleased with. As you can see, I used it quite a lot on this build alone. So I think these two mods are going to make the space much more usable. But there's lots more to do in here. So thanks for watching. Thanks to my patrons, and please subscribe for more videos.